So our lesson for today is factoring quadratic expressions, and for those of you who had me for geometry last year, do you remember that week we spent doing like all of these things from algebra that you didn't remember how to do? This is the part where you thank me for making you do it then, so that this lesson is going to be way easier for you now, as long as you remembered what you learned. Okay, so for our objectives, we're going to be answering the question, how do you factor quadratic expressions? Then we're going to find common and binomial factors of quadratic expressions, and then factor special quadratic expressions. So for our vocabulary, factoring is rewriting an expression as a product of its factors. So basically, if you multiply two things together, you can then separate those things out and say, these are the things I multiplied together to get this. The greatest common factor, or the GCF of an expression, is a common factor of the terms of the expression. So it's what goes into each part of the expression. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started right away. So let's factor this. X squared plus 9x plus 20. So if you remember the tricks that I taught you last year, I'm just going to explain them again really quick. When you have an expression that you're going to factor, first you look at this sign. If this sign is positive, then when you make your two factors, then both of your expressions are going to be positive. If this sign is negative, then one of them is positive and one of them is negative. Okay? If this one is positive, you look over this one and this will tell you if it's both positive or both negative. So that's your other option, negative, negative, because two negatives can make a positive. This is just going to help you for when you're trying to figure out like what signs you're going to have to use, what numbers you're going to have to use in order to do your factoring. Alright, so when we go ahead and we factor this one, we're first going to look at the sign at the end, and we see that it's positive. So that means we know that when we factor our two binomials together, the signs are both going to be positive. So first we look for factors of 20. So what are my possible factors of 20? Well, I have 1 and 20, I have 2 and 10, I have 4 and 5, I think that's about it. Okay, so I need to find which one of these factors adds up to be 9. Well, it's pretty obvious, 4 and 5 make 9. So my factors are x plus 4 and x plus 5. So I'm going to go ahead and FOIL to make sure that I did this right. So x plus x is x squared, and then we add plus 5x plus 4x plus 20. Combine your like terms, x squared plus 9x plus 20. Is that the same as our original expression? It is. That means we factored correctly. Alright. So let's do another one. For this one, first thing I'm going to look at is my sign. What is my sign? My sign is negative. That means I'm going to have one positive and one negative binomial. My x squared is still just a 1, so I have an x and an x. So what are my possible factors of 72? We need to find factors of 72 that add up to be 14. And remember, one of them has to be negative. So we have 1 and 72. Obviously that's not going to be it because those are not 14 apart. I have 2 and 36. I have 4 and 18. Alright, so it looks like I've got a winner here. So one positive, one's negative. It has to be a positive number, so that means our bigger number is positive, smaller number is negative. 18 minus 4 is 14. So I should have a plus 18 and a minus 4. I'm going to go ahead and check this by multiplying. X times x is x squared. Then I have a minus 4x, a plus 18x, and a minus 72. Combine my like terms, x squared plus 14x minus 72. Is that the same as our original? It is. That means we factored correctly. Hooray! Okay, for this one, if it starts with a negative out front, just go ahead and rewrite your expressions with your coefficient being 1 for your x. So we're going to rewrite this one as x squared minus 13x plus 12. Okay, so I see positive, same signs, both are negative, so it's x minus and x minus. What are my possible factors of 12? Well, 3 and 4, 6 and 2, 1 and 12, and they both have to be negative. So which one of these adds up to be negative 13? Negative 1 and negative 12. So make sure you check your, we said in algebra last year, check your OA. So there's negative 12, negative 1, that makes negative 13. That's what you want to get. Oh yeah, because we changed signs. There we go. Negative 13. Okay, and then, sorry, make sure you plug that negative back in. Put it out front so that you don't forget about it, because that will change your answer. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and try a couple of these and see what you come up with. Okay, here's what I got when I factored each one of these. Don't get frustrated. These just take a lot of time, a lot of practice, a lot of doing them over and over and over again. Okay, sometimes we're going to get ones that they already have something that's in common with all terms. So go ahead, and if you have one of those, factor out what's in common first. So for this one, between the 6n squared and the 9n, the smallest number that 6 and 9 has in common is 3. And they both have a factor of n. So this right here is your greatest common factor. But you can't just ignore the numbers. So 3 times what makes 6? That's 2. You also need another n to make n squared. And then also we're going to add 3. So this would be factoring out your greatest common factor. So sometimes you'll get ones like this. So then see if everything is divisible by a certain number. As you can tell, all of these numbers are divisible by 4. That's going to make it easier for us when we factor it. So you get x squared plus 5x minus 14. And then you can factor this just like normal. Okay, signs are different. One's positive, one's negative. Multiples of 14 that add up to be 5. That's going to be positive 7 and negative 2. Alright, sometimes, so far we've done where we've been able to reduce x squared to a coefficient of 1, but you won't always be able to do that. So when you factor these kind, you're still going to follow the same rules, same plus minus. You have 5 factors of 12, but you also have to find the factors of 2, and they together need to add up to the 11. So I don't really have a lot of options for 2, so it's going to be x and x. I know positive, they're both positive. Now my possible factors of 12 are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. I need to find what combination of these can I put in that's going to add up to be 11. So let's just go ahead and try something. I'm going to pick another color. What if we did 3 here and 4 here? This makes 3. This makes 8. 8 plus 3 makes 11. So we got it right on the first try. Alright. This is another way that your book shows you how to do it. It can be really complicated and just frustrating. So whichever way makes more sense to you is totally fine with me. So if we were to factor this one, things change because the 4, my possible factors are 1 and 4 or 2 and 2. So these we're going to have to kind of play with and manipulate sometimes. So let's go ahead and try with 2x and 2x to make the 4x squared. This is negative, signs are different. One's positive, one's negative. And it's nice that this number is 3, so I don't have a whole lot of options. So a 3 and a 1. If I go ahead and check this, I get negative 6. and I get positive 2, which makes negative 4. So again, we guessed it right on the first time, which is also a super handy feature. Okay, here are a couple for you to try so you can see how you're doing. Go ahead and pause it and I'll put up the answers really quick. So hopefully you solved these. I went ahead and solved them on here so you can see what the answers are. And then these are just some examples of some perfect square trinomials. Just some things to help you out. I don't know why all of a sudden got so many pop-ups. Okay, so if you're going to a squared plus b squared, when you multiply it out, you get a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. If you notice that a squared plus 2ab plus b squared is a pattern, then you can automatically tell that it's in the form a plus b squared. That's just helpful for you. So like this one, you can tell that x is 1, 25, well, the square root of 25 is 5, and 2 5s makes 10, so this is x plus 5 squared. It's just helpful, but you can factor it still the other way, not a big deal. And then subtracting is the same thing. And then when we have a difference of two squares, if we have like x squared minus 9, that'll be x plus 3x minus 3, because when you do the outer inner, you're going to get a positive 3x and a negative 3x, and they're going to cancel every time. So like this one is 5x plus 7, 5x minus 7. Alright, and that's all I got for today. Hope you have a good night and a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you Monday.